This company's never been more profitable.
You mean hugely profitable?
I like it.
DavePorter.com presents The Profitable Cleaner, a podcast on commercial cleaning sales and entrepreneurship. The one podcast that's not afraid to discuss real sales strategies with real cleaning professionals that produce real profits and real results.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. I am super stoked for today's episode. I say that often, but I truly mean this because we have a special person on this show. Scott, what's up, brother? Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. How are you doing today, man?
Hey, nice to see you, James. Thanks for the invite. I'm excited to be here. It's a wonderful, beautiful day, rainy and cool where I'm at. But I know Colorado's chilly, and I'm glad I'm not there presently.
Yeah, totally, man.
But things are going well. It's been wonderful after the amazing convention that we did with you guys a couple months back, and just hit the ground running and learned a lot. So it's been a pleasure from the get-go with being a partner with you guys.
Well, I appreciate the friendship and the partnership, Scott. So I'm going to give some historical context for everyone listening right now, and we'll jump into the nitty-gritty. Scott has an amazing business in Accurate Janitorial and has one hell of a story, and there's a lot to learn from a guy that's been in the industry for 30 plus years, which we're going to learn a lot from. But I randomly cold called Scott and left him a voicemail, and he, if you're in the sales game and you do a cold call and you get a voicemail, you rarely expect a call back. Not only did I get a call back from Scott, I got an enthusiastic call back from Scott, and we hit it off, and we're able to meet him and his company, and which so happens to be his leadership team and his company are his children, which we'll talk more about at our Cleaning Profits event back in November, and it was just a wonderful time. So yeah, man, it's kind of funny how we met, and here we are. So Scott, yeah. So I don't butcher the story or anything. Why don't you give us a little bit of your background, 30 plus years in the industry. You've built one hell of a business here in Denver, Colorado. You no longer live in Denver, but you're still in the business. Give us the Accurate Janitorial story of Scott.
Okay. Well, as I was growing up in Lakewood, Colorado, I was about 12 and a half years old when we moved from South Carolina to Colorado. And a second cousin of my dad, who was in his 70s, had a little cleaning. He had like 7 or 8 cleaning accounts, and it was called Bill's Janitorial. He was the funniest uncle, a loving man. He loved horses, never wore his teeth. So he was very funny looking all the time. So he wasn't the best at sales, but he still had some accounts. So I just started working with my Uncle Bill on Saturdays. And we would go to Winchell's and get donuts, and then we'd go clean 3 or 4 buildings, and then we'd go to a burger shop and get a burger. And he would just talk to me about business, and he read books, and he read how to do sales, and he was very knowledgeable, and he was, in a lot of ways, he was like a father figure in that regard, because I had a tough childhood growing up with a bit of a broken family. That happened later. So I just kind of learned how to be compassionate and understanding. And one of the things Uncle Bill taught me was always use the word we instead of I when talking about anything with regard to your life. It's we as an inclusive, makes people feel appreciated, makes them feel comfortable, makes them feel at home. So I've tried to instill that in the way I have built this company, and incorporating the we with our customers. Like, it's not us and them, it's we are together on this. And we have always tried to build a long-term relationship with those foundations of we're in this for each other, not just we're providing a service and you owe us blank number of dollars a month. So that grew into about 1.5 years of college. I was already had my own set of accounts at that time. Uncle retired. I kind of started taking his accounts off of his hands. I paid him some money over time, and we worked out a business arrangement. And I changed the name to Accurate Janitorial in 1985. And I just started knocking on doors. And it wasn't until the late I think it was '89, I put my first Yellow Page ad in. Some of you out there are going to laugh because you're like, what's the Yellow Pages? No kidding. With the internet nowadays. But back then, the Yellow Pages was it. And it worked for us. And we grew, and I just started getting better and better at bidding and creating that relationship with every customer that I had an opportunity to sit down with. And we just grew the business.
I love that, man.
All the while, and this kind of goes out to people that, and I met some of them at the Cleaning Profits convention, and we all come from different walks of life, and we all have our own struggles. And I certainly had my fair share, and I'll share some of those with you. But I'm the youngest of four from a divorced family. I had a military dad who was tough as nails, but he also instilled in me that if you say you're going to do something, you better do it. And I got some really good tools from him, and I got some great speaking tools and caring about people from my mom. So despite that failure in their life, I learned quite a bit, and I take that with me, and I've tried to instill that in my kids today. So, where did I leave off?
No, you were talking about, those early days, knocking on doors, Yellow Pages, kind of the initial footing. And then obviously you guys, I'm assuming, grew. And then after that initial growth, talk to me, man. Like, so you had your initial accounts, you started marketing yourself, knocking on doors. Like, at what point were you like, oh shit, this needs to become more than just Scott?
Yeah, very, very good point. So, with any kind of an entrepreneurial spirit, most people that have that, they know about themselves, and they're always constantly looking. So I was, while cleaning and while working and doing all the work myself, I was experimenting with other types of business models. So I would go to these conventions. I would go read a book about marketing, or I would attend a seminar that was going to try to sell me soap or Amway. And I learned a lot from just the experience of those failures, you might want to call it. But so I thought about how I could structure this business of mine and scale it, but yet not lose the personal touch of what we really were about, which is very, very important to us. So I just basically created a relationship with a few people that were really, really good at cleaning and not so good at management and sales. And I paired us together, we became successful. So I would sell a few accounts, and I would farm those out to my subcontract employee, and he would clean them as if they were his, and they are, and they have been. And then I would create another business and create another contractor with that, and build that guy's business. And we would succeed through bringing our two separate talents together for a single cause. And that's really the birthplace of Accurate Janitorial. We don't look at our subcontractors as subcontractors. We look at them as partners. We look at them as someone that we could not survive without them, and they couldn't survive without us, right? So it's very symbiotic.
Totally. I want to ask you a few questions there before you move on here, Scott, about the subcontractor model. I think there's a negative connotation in the industry about subcontractors. Some people, that's all they do exclusively, and they exceed or succeed in doing that, like you guys have. And then there's like the hell stories of either companies treating subcontractors poorly, or subcontractors not upholding their end of the promise. And there's some negativity around that. And then there's like the other side of the coin, the janitorial companies that build within, they hire within, and they're kind of anti-subcontract. Number one, talk to me about kind of that negative connotation and what it's like on the good side, which is your side. And then number two, like, just talk to me about managing subcontractors and how you've been able to do it so effectively over the years.
Good. Yeah. Well, the reason why it works so well, I have found, and by the way, this isn't a slight to any other model. There are plenty of great models out there that work, and we know a lot of great people that we mentor and you mentor with that have done it a different way and are successful. I found success by doing it this way. And basically I found the need to fill a niche market, right? You've got a variety of cleaning professionals that are really great at doing the cleaning part, or maybe they're just really good at floor care, or maybe they're just really good at carpet cleaning, but they do not have the business background, or they don't have the proper training, and they don't have the skill set. So we find those people, and again, we partner with them. So we talk to them about one of the things that makes our bond really strong is I don't just say, hey, here's an account, here's the keys, and this is how much it is. We say, talk to me about your business, Mike. Tell me how you're billing, how you're going to bill us. Tell me about what kind of insurances. And we have some regulations. We need X number of, we need workman's comp, we need insurance, et cetera. We need all those finer things. We need that handled. We help them do that. But we also help them find a great accountant to help them save money on taxes. So we'll counsel them in tax preparation, how to write things off. A lot of guys didn't even know they could write their car off, and their insurance and their cell phone. I mean, this is stuff that just we all as business owners know, but these guys, they just weren't aware. So we work with them, and this creates a really nice bond. Like, Scott's looking out for me as a small business guy. Accurate Janitorial cares about my success. I'm not just another contractor dumping trash for the guy, right? So we invest time and money into their personal lives and their personal business so that we can grow together. We both go up. I sell an account. Mike is doing a super good job. We just signed a $4,000 account. He can fill that service need, and we get him in the building. We train him on it, and the customer's happy because it's very, very seamless. We go in and do the walkthroughs. We meet with the customer. We're the face-to-face. But yet our cleaning team, our subcontractors, it's just, it flows right to them. All that information just flows right to them. And you're helping us launch a new app, which you can throw in a plug about. We're super psyched about that, which, surprisingly, we survived so long without it, but it is time. So that's how we invest in our subcontractors so that they're willing to go the long haul with us. And when we ask to do something, it's always yes, and we'll figure the details out later, Scott. I know you'll take care of us.
I love it, man. I think it just proves time and time again the organic message that comes up on this show is the cleaning business is not about cleaning, it's about people. And it's not just about people in the sense of the clients you serve, but the people you work with, the subcontractors you partner with. I'm just curious, Scott, what's your longest lasting subcontractor relationship that you have right now?
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years. So imagine the business that has been done and the lives that have been changed, including Accurate Janitorial, over that 20-year time frame, right? I think that's amazing. For someone listening right now that might be considering subcontracting, what would be a few maybe kind of qualifying tips you're looking for in a subcontractor? Obviously, the workman's comp, the insurance, the formalities, we get that. But when you're interviewing a new subcontractor, outside of the formal stuff, what are you looking for? Well, and
I always meet with them face to face. We always sit down with them over a cup of coffee. I'll buy them lunch or whatever, and we will talk shop. How do you guys tackle a VCT floor? How do you deal with, and what kind of equipment are you using to do commercial carpet cleaning? Are you using portables, et cetera, et cetera? What kind of vacuums are you using? Are you using backpacks? Are you using uprights? Are you using, right? So if they do not have the proper equipment for new subcontractors, we'll actually buy all their equipment for them. And then they pay us over time without interest. We just don't charge it. I will set them up with $1,000 worth of, you can buy a backpack vacuum for $500, let's say $535. Nice one. And then a few mop buckets, a couple trash barrels, and some cleaning supplies, you're talking about $1,000. Well, a lot of guys that are starting out, they don't have $1,000. In fact, most of the janitorial subcontract model businesses charge them $1,000 or $2,000 just to get in a rotation to maybe get an account. We don't do that.
Yeah.
So, it's like you charge them up front and they might get a decent account that pays them $500 a month. It's brutal out there. So, I've been in the trenches. I've done this work. I've cleaned all hours of the night for most of my career. I've been cleaning at night. I just would never ask someone to clean a building for a wage that I wouldn't clean it myself for. I just wouldn't.
No doubt.
And I haven't done it.
Good. And good for you guys. And I just know that speaks to the person you are. I want to dive into that a little bit more. The person that Scott is. Scott, I know a little bit of your story. I know people listening to this show are dealing with things just not in the business, but also in their personal life. And I think often we try to separate the two when they're so connected. If you have a chaotic personal life, you probably have some chaos in your business. It's just the natural symbiotic relationship between the two. Yes. I know that so you started with your Uncle Bill. I didn't know that. That's news to me. I think that's an awesome story. But I know that you've had this business for as long as your kids have been alive, which I think is amazing. And we're going to get to how they're now involved in the business as adult children in a little bit. But throughout those 30 plus years, man, I know that you've built this business up. You've seen it go down and you've built it up. You've been punched and you've got up before. People will be able to relate to that are listening right now. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to hear some of that kind of up and down story of building it back up and the trials and tribulations, and maybe give some hope to people listening.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to head in that direction and then I got sidetracked. But people watching, don't judge a book by its cover. You got to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. And that is very, very true because, yes, we and I have been through some very difficult times in my life, and it did affect my business. So when, 1998, 97, 98, I actually filed for divorce. So my kids were 3 and 6. It was the toughest decision I'd ever made. And it was very, very tough for me to do because I came from that and I didn't want to do that. I just felt I needed to for me and for my kids. And so it was hard on them. And I had to, because I work nights, I didn't get sleepovers. So any of you guys that are dealing with custody issues, I just kept fighting. I kept fighting. So my motivation to get out of the nighttime cleaning and into more of a management was more or less forced because I was missing my time with my kids. And of course the divorce and the subsequent payoff, I had to, pay the company off to my ex. It put me into bankruptcy. So I had to literally file bankruptcy. And through all of that, right, we had lost a whole bunch of accounts and it was brutal. I was shopping at the food bank 15 and a half years ago. We just filed bankruptcy. Everything kind of went away like the divorce. So I guess the lesson here is don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your kids or your family. And things will get better as long as you are willing to continue to fail. Right? Because if you can't, if you're not willing to fail, then you are not available to yourself to succeed. Success is only built on a series of failures throughout one's life.
Absolutely, man. I want to go back to that moment because I know, man, people that listen to the show, they're in all different phases. We have people rolling at $20 million a year. That look like they made it, but they've all paid their dues to get there, just like you have. We have people that are at $250,000 a year trying to figure it out and saying, geez, is this the fucking business for me? Right? Yeah. So I'm curious, Scott. Yeah. How do I get to my first million? And then there's people that are like, holy cow, I got to my first million. Now what? And there's a sense of excitement. Scott, that moment when you filed for bankruptcy just 15 and a half years ago. And by the way, let me give a shout out to Accurate Janitorial, because when I first dealt with them, I knew right away that they were a multi-million-dollar company and they had their stuff together. And just think, 15 and a half years ago, there was a bankruptcy document on the table. In that moment, did you ever consider getting out the industry, or like, what did you do in that moment? Like, were you like, do I keep doing this business?
Yeah, I had struggled with that for a while, and I had a couple of different smaller business ventures on the side, and I was just, it was, again, that was motivated by my frustration with, I'm just the cleaning guy. I'm just the cleaning guy. When is this thing going to become more than just Scott cleaning these buildings? So, and we had, over the years before that, we had a few subs, and it was starting to work. And then, a divorce happened. So that's a tough thing for anyone to deal with. A death in the family, a loved one, a sibling, which I had. My brother, unfortunately, 3 years ago, he committed suicide. So that was tough. And then, my mom died way long ago, and my father as well. So, I mean, I was 35 years old. I lost both my parents within, I think, 2 years of each other. So, those were life-changing events that really make you dig deep, and fight for your family, your kids. So, I basically decided that I wasn't any good at any of these other business ventures that I had tried. I was really, really good at, putting these pieces together, and I had done it before. I could certainly do it again. I just failed the last time, and maybe this time I won't fail. And I just never quit. The reality of it is I just never gave up. I don't even know how anymore. I don't know how to give up. And I think each one of you out there listening, if you're at that point, call me. If you're at that point, listen to this podcast, because there is a way out of where you are today, and tomorrow will be there. Just be strong and believe in yourself, and lean on the people that know you and people that care, and also reach out for help. I reached out for help. I got some mentorship going. I started a roundtable of guys in the Denver metro area that built their company from nothing, no franchises or anything else. They didn't buy a cookie cutter model and make $5 million a year like others. I wanted guys to get together that built it with their bare hands like I did. And we started roundtabling together, and we shared. And that's what I love so much about the Cleaning Profits is that's basically this community now that I've been so grateful to, become associated with. That's kind of what I was looking for. So there are lots of resources. Pick up a book, grab a self-help book. I just finished the War of Art. This is a really, really, really good book. And it talks about your creative battles, and it talks about your roadblocks that we place in front of ourselves that inhibit success. They detour us because of our instant gratification needs and desires, right? We want it now, but you can't have it now because you're not ready for it now. And
Totally.
You just got to keep trying.
I think it's awesome, man. When I hear your story about when I heard bankruptcy and all of that, and divorce and kids in the mix, and then trying to run a cleaning business, which is chaos too, right? I always think, man, how did someone pull through like that? And then I've been fortunate enough to talk to 70 plus guests on this show, and maybe they're not all similar challenges, but there's all adversity, and they've all been able to push through and then really get to the next level. I want to talk about that next level, Scott. So you took Scott out of the equation and started really doubling down on your subcontractor network, as I'll call it. And I know you guys started leveling up at that point. Bring me up to speed. At what level did you start building kind of like a management team? And then when did your kids become involved in the company? So like, talk to me about like that next phase when you guys did get your first million and first 2 million. And then you guys were like, okay, we're on to something. How did the management start to formulate? And when did the children become involved? And who are your kids? They're wonderful people, but I'll let you introduce them.
Thanks. Thank you for that. Yeah, and they're wonderful. I'm so proud of them. So yeah, back in around 2017 or so, we were pushing. We're approaching our first million. Maybe it was mid 2017 or early 2018. We hit $1 million, and at that point, I was like, "Oh crap! I got to do something different, right? I have to learn, otherwise, I'm going to fail again, right? And I don't want to fail again. I want to continue to learn and grow." So we strengthened our partnerships. We found some. It's a constant battle. I hear it all the time in our industry. How do you find good subs? How do you find good employees? We would find our really good subs by calling the local Better Business Bureau or the Small Business Association, SBA. Guys get loans. They start a small business. We want to know who they are. One of the best places I have found mom and pop subcontractors is at a local vacuum floor repair janitorial supply shop on the corner, not the big one on the street, not the Don John down the street, right? Or anybody else. I'm talking a local shop that fixes and repairs floor machines and sells some products. You go in and talk to them. They know the guys in the trenches. They know the guys that are working hard and buying the right things and doing the right things. And you'll get a phone number or two or three and call them. They need the business. That's how we found our good contractors, because they were already hungry enough to go and buy the right products, service their equipment, and go out in the field and do the work. That's how we found most of our good contractors. They already had a lot of great equipment. So it was a plug and play in a lot of ways. And in other ways, it was, we need to help these guys. Let's invest in their business. Let's loan them some money. Let's get them started. All they need is a couple of accounts and some management, right? So when that started to happen, and our internet and our website, and you guys can jump on it, I'm sure it's going to be listed on here. We spent a decent amount of money on a website, and then we spent another decent amount of money on some SEO, right? Some Google AdWords. But before doing that, my son was just graduating college. He got his 4-year degree in business finance, which, made me just do cartwheels because I'm horrible at finance. So I'm like, Bryn, look at the spreadsheet. Bryn, look at this spreadsheet. So Bryn is very, very good at math and economics and spreadsheets and flow charts and all the stuff that I never learned because I'm a college dropout. I dropped out 1.5 years out of an associate school. I was doing electronics. Who knew, right? So I needed that help. And he was working in the restaurant industry as a manager. And I said, Bryn, what's it going to take for you to come full time with Dad? Because it's time. It is time to go. And he's like, I don't know, Dad. I used to work for you. I cleaned buildings. I don't want any part of that. So anyway, long story short, I sent him a spreadsheet and said, I need your help. And he calls me up and goes, Dad, I had no idea you were making this much. I had no idea. When can I start?
Yeah, there you go. Money talks, right?
That's right. So I gave him the job, and then subsequently he was bumped up and he's done very well, and he's brought a lot to the company. I think his first year he sold $500,000 worth of sales, and then shortly thereafter my daughter graduated from NAU, and with a very valuable degree in biology. And it was right during COVID, so jobs were scarce. So she started doing some sales for us part-time, and also quality control checks. And then shortly thereafter, she went on full-time, and she's sold at least 700,000 in sales herself since she sold.
Amazing.
So having the kids jump into the business and help Dad manage it, I had already created these relationships with these quality partners of ours. So at that time, it was really more about quality control, customer retention, and sales, right? And it's in that order. Is really quality control, customer retention, and sales is last, because if you have to do more sales, you're not keeping your customers. We've been lucky in that regard.
Totally. I love the fact that you said that, man. So many people start with the opposite. They go sales, and then we're going to figure out fulfillment. Sales, we're going to figure out fulfillment. And then you get churn, then you get lack of retention, you get unhappy customers. And listen,
Yeah.
as a business owner, and now everyone knows who listens to the show, I've actually never owned a cleaning company, but as a business owner that's owned multiple businesses, and I've always been the sales business, I'm telling you, if you don't have your fulfillment and quality control in place, you're going to continually burn the candle for more sales. And often you can increase revenue just by increasing the quality of your service without having to find new people to go sell to. So I love the fact that you listed those in order. Talk to me about the family dynamic now. So I love listening to your kids ask questions at the Cleaning Profits event because it was kind of funny. Dad's in the room, and then brother, sister, and they're close in age. And I just saw this cool dynamic go on, like I saw with the Moreno family on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Also,
Big
he's
shout
got
out
two
to
daughters.
The Morenos. Big shout out to the Moreno family. Really
totally,
beautiful family.
No doubt, Murray.
Truth be told, the reality of it is my kids knew how hard it was for me to rebuild, and they also saw the struggles that I went through in trying to get equal and fair custody because of my night job. And so, and this is nothing bad about our divorce or their mom. She's a wonderful woman, and we're friends today. And I care about her, and we love our kids. With that being said, they know how much Dad put into this. So it is it's a family business, and they are invested because it means something to them because they know what I went through to get here. So
no doubt,
we don't take any customer lightly. We treat them like a family, and we create that connection and that repetitive, hey, checking in on you, so on and so forth, face to face. And we have a kind of a tiered system. If they're X dollars, we visit. If they're X number of times per month, and so on and so forth. And so because you can't always visit everyone, so we kind of cut them down a little bit more and maybe do it every 6 weeks for $2,000 accounts. So they're just beautiful people. They're kind, they're loving, they're genuine. They're hardworking, they're educated. Thank God I made enough money to be able to help them go to college and finish college, and with almost no debt. And that was a tough burden for me because 15 years ago, Burkell graduated 4 years ago. So we're talking 11, 4 years ago, it was only 11, it was a little snug, right? So even at $1 million, your revenue is in this type of model, you're going to be around 20%. So that's only 200,000. And then you got costs and taxes out from there. You're raising a family of 4 and you're paying for college. There's not a lot left when you got a mortgage and a couple car payments, right? And
totally.
Yeah. And other things. So, it was tough to do that. So they are very much aware of what we have invested in this company. So when I ask them to do things, they do it. And then they want to learn from Dad. Dad, how do you handle this type of complaint? How do you handle this type of customer that's just like, ugh? Or how do you handle this sales that I'm not used to? You're so good at it. Why show? And so it's just been this wonderful tour of like teaching and learning, and I've learned from them, and they are learning from me, and it's wonderful. So to see that in action at the event was really, really powerful for me, and I was visibly moved, as because I was so proud of what they had accomplished in very short period of time. Frankly, I mean,
absolutely.
They had, when I was their age, we'd be 30 million, right?
Yeah, totally. No doubt. So what does like Thanksgiving dinner look like for you guys? Are you guys talking family, or are you guys talking shop and business?
We talk so much during the day. I mean, I talk to both of them for at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes today. We talk almost every day, if not every other day. So when family time comes, it's usually family time. And I think that's important for any family unit to kind of leave work where work needs to stay and enjoy the family time. Now, does that mean it's never come up? Hogwash. Of course it has.
Sure.
Especially a big deal that we're working on. One of the things that makes this business model so valuable is because of our partnership and our variety and numbers of subs. We've been called to start a 360,000 square foot building during Christmas, and we had 5 days to get it going. 5 days. Bam. Home run, knocked it out of the park. They're a wonderful customer. And we put it together because we had that resource. Now, if you were in an employee-based business, that'd be a tough one to
hard.
call.
Totally.
That'd be
no doubt
hard.
about that.
So, because not only do you have to find them in 5 days, you have to train them. Because you're so desperate for a body, my training's already done. Everyone that works for us can handle another account, right? Some of the new ones can handle 5 accounts, right? So we've got this vast pool of resources that all we're waiting to do is just sell the account and get them into the cycle, because it's already built. The chain is already on the sprocket, right? It's already cruising around. We just need to pop them in.
Here's a question for you. If someone's listening to this, what do you think about a mixed model? Like, let's say you're a company that is employee-based, and that's your model, but maybe you want to go get the next $500,000 through subs. What do you feel about a kind of a hybrid model?
I've given some thought to that. And in some cases, we have put some day porters on payroll. So we have dabbled in that, and it has worked. Where we run into issues, and this is more of a beware to anyone out there, when you're bidding on a building and they say, well, listen, we've got a day porter on our staff and we really love Bill. He's been here for a decade, but we want you to come in and do the nighttime janitorial. Beware, because not only are you going to have to make Bill happy, but you got to make Bill's boss happy and Bill's boss's boss happy. That's a sticky wicket. So we have endeavored to employ them ourselves. We say, well, look, we'll keep Bill, but he works for us now. He's got to fill out an application, go through the process, and he works for Accurate Janitorial. He doesn't work for you anymore. And yeah, we'll pay him what you guys were paying. And that's the way to get rid of that problem. But I think it works. So I have nothing against that model, and it may come to that at some point in our future too, that we may have to, kind of think of in those terms. But the nighttime janitorial model, we're going to stay with the subcontract model.
Love it. So talk to me now. So you're in South Carolina now, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm operating remotely.
Yeah. So talk to us about that. When did that transition happen, and how are you able to operate remotely when Accurate is well known here in Colorado?
Well, all I have to do is just give credit to my kids and give credit to the quality customers and the quality partners that we have. So I am involved every day. I'm doing Zoom calls, or I'm doing phone calls, or I'm talking to customers. I'm responding via email. I mean, my email inbox looks like anybody else's email inbox. It's full, and it gets cleaned every day. And our customers get responded to immediately. I have my group of customers, and the kids have their group of customers that they manage. So we basically split it up in a third, but maybe I'm more like a 20% and they're a little bit higher. But then I also fly back to town periodically and meet with customers and check on things. And if we have something really big like Cleaning Profits Convention, I'll go to that any day of the week.
Yeah, totally, man.
So that it's worked out good. Is it ideal? And we talked about this in the convention, the seminar, for me. And then one of the questions was, because I was contemplating whether or not I had semi-retired too soon. And someone asked, are you happy, Scott? And the answer is yes, but I'd still be happy if I was in Denver. So we've already discussed possibly just, maybe coming back. I miss my kids.
Nice, man. Well, man, Colorado misses you, man. If I could get lunch with you once a month, that'd be awesome. So
let's plan that for April or May.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And for those of you listening, we are doing a second Cleaning Profits event. If you weren't, the news is about to drop here soon. Our past attendees and fellow friends like Scott will know first, but this is the first time I'm actually even publicly teasing it. So there is going to be a 2023 event, which we're looking forward to. Scott, I have like 3 last questions for you here, man. And I feel like we're going to have to do a second episode. And I would actually like to maybe do a trio episode with Bren and Brickell. I have to tell you, man, Bren is a tough ass, man. And what I mean by that is because he is so straight faced, because he's so damn smart. But once you break through this wall, he's awesome. But man, he can ask questions. Both your kids are so dang good at asking questions. And then it's almost like there's Bren, the brother, and then there's Brickell, and she just comes in and then just runs circles around both you and Bren. And it's just so funny to watch. And I don't know if they got the question that they can ask from you, but I can see how it serves well in business. And we talk about the quality of asking questions on the show a lot, whether it's in sales, whether it's in customer service. And damn, man, your kids, they asked some of the best questions I heard at that event.
Wow, James, thank you for that. They truly care. They're just super good people. They have big hearts. Bryn is a newlywed. He's looking to build a family. Brickell has got a heart of gold. She's a Leo, so she's that lion in the room, and she just attracts and exudes energy. She's a lot more like me. I'm a Pisces, but I'm also, maybe I have that energy, and she picked up on that. And so she's kind of like the life, and Bryn is the nuts and bolts guy. But
totally,
like
man,
you
need
said,
that.
we can break through a little bit, and he's got the mushy side too. But I think it's just a great combination. Like the 3 of us, and even my wife Rebecca, Rebecca, by the way, she helps with the HR. She does the insurance. She does the insurance certificates. Gets with the contractor. So we have some help in that. She's got a 25-year history in the insurance business. So she brings a lot to the table, and she's my huge partner. So we as a family, the 4 of us, run Accurate Janitorial. She's more admin. Bryn's more nuts and bolts. Brickell's more customer relationship, along with myself and our contractors. We have great relationships with our contractors. So without those pieces, it won't work. And because I know I've tried it and it didn't work. Try not to build $1 million business or a $3 million business and get a divorce. It's not fun. So
yeah. Well, I want everyone to take that into consideration, what Scott just said. So there's basically family ran business. The management team is the family, right? It's Rebecca, Scott, Bren, Brickell. And then they have an awesome subcontractor network. So for people that might be questioning or curious about subcontracting, look at Accurate Janitorial. And this is a model to go by. They have 4 people running at high capacity because they have a great network of subs with great relationships. And then obviously they have the processes in place to make sure the quality is there. So if anyone's curious on what a good sub model looks like, look at Accurate Janitorial, and then you can see and feel and hear the personal touch that comes through, I think, just in the show. Scott, I have 2 last questions now for you. My first one is a professional one. My last one's kind of a fun one here. But recently, you just added on a gal named Barbara. Talk to me kind of about like what Barbara's doing for your company and what's unique about that situation.
Yeah, so through your guys' network, you helped us acquire a Barbara, and she's a wonderful young lady. She's got a master's degree, which blows my education out of the water. So we partnered with you guys and brought her on board. And she's going to help us kind of organize our sales. One of the places we have failed, and I have failed, is to follow up on leads that we didn't close, or businesses or business or customers that we have lost over the years, right? So we're going to try to get her to help us kind of lay those out in a really clear and concise CRM so that we can follow up with those past customers. And also, I've been terrible at LinkedIn. Very, very non-existent LinkedIn presence. I'll get better at it, but Barbara has already surpassed my LinkedIn, and she's only been at it for 2.5 weeks. So,
yeah, totally,
she's really, I mean, her LinkedIn looks way better than mine, I'll put it that way. And I didn't do anything. I just said yes, and that's it. So really,
totally,
really
man. Well, I think you guys are onto something. So again, kind of looking at how you can scale your business. Barbara she's 100% virtual and doing these sales virtually. And, but still a relationship is the key there of keeping that relationship, just like you would with your subs, just like you do with your clients, just like you do with the virtual sales rep. Yeah. It all starts with the relationship. Scott, last question here, man. This is a question I heard. I heard this question yesterday, and it's just so funny. You are the first person I'm asking this to after hearing this. Would you rather spend a week in a mall by yourself with 5 king cobras, you don't know where they're at, or 2 gorillas, and you have to survive a week? Would you rather be in a mall, just you, locked in there with 5 king cobras or 2 gorillas?
I'm going to take the king cobras. I hear you can speak to them. I don't think you can speak to a gorilla.
Dude, that's an interesting question, because like the first few hours with the king cobras, you're like, okay, I got this. But as soon as you have to go to sleep, you're like, I don't think I got this anymore.
They're going to curl up with you. Yeah.
So,
well, you just maybe have to get the flute out.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Scott, if people want to connect with you, man, after this call, where can people find you at?
Yeah, send me, should I give out my email?
If you want, dude, give out whatever you want, and we're going to also link Accurate Janitorial below in your LinkedIn.
Yeah, send me an email. It's Scott, SCOTT, at accuratejanitorial.net.
Awesome, man.
Got it, accuratejanitorial.net. And you can find me on the website. You can call the number that's on the website, and you'll be routed to my personal line. So you can find us that way. I look forward to helping anybody. Look forward to serving any new customers that might hear this, that like what they heard. And again, I'll close with this. Through all the failures in my life, it has motivated me to constantly improve myself. And I'm doing that both on a personal level, as a father, as a partner, and as a business owner. And I'm trying to mentor my kids, and I'm trying to mentor some other partners with the cleaning profits. And I'm looking forward to that part of my metamorphosis to get more wisdom and to share more wisdom. So I look forward to being able to do that with you guys. And just I'm so thankful for that call, James. I mean, it's dang near a miracle, really.
It is, man. It's funny how God works. It was just meant to be, man. Well, I'm so glad you're part of our circle. I know people listening got so much from you today. And yeah, man, I can't wait till next time we get to see each other in person, man. So thank you so much. And we're going to have to do episode 2, man, but bring the kids on next time. Absolutely, man.
I look forward to that.
Thank you, Scott.
Let's make that happen, James. And it was a pleasure. Hey, Angel, sorry I missed you. Hats off to you, brother. And also, Daisy, we miss you. What a huge asset you guys have in her. And she's amazing. Everybody really on your team is amazing. So kudos.
Appreciate that, man.
Much appreciated, you guys. Have a great evening, and thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. Bye-bye.